Affirmations are a statement of truth. They are a statement of those qualities that exist within us when we are attuning ourselves to that superconscious flow. So as we are moving through the world, bringing ourselves closer and closer into that state of God, bringing ourselves closer and closer to that state of oneness with God, training our thoughts back home into that place of stillness, then what we're doing is we're learning the experience of living in perfect gratitude, of living in joy, of living in good health, all of the affirmations that we'll discuss and share, and that we share each week at our Sunday service. So the flow for the evening will be that we'll begin with a chant and a very brief meditation to center ourselves. Then Kshama will share a brief talk about affirmations and the power behind them. And of course, we'll end with Keshava leading us through some practices of this. And then the last half hour of our time together will be a meditation. So we hope that you enjoy. And as I said, it's a blessing for all of us to get to share this with you. So we'll begin with a chant. Let's sit in meditation for just a few moments together. Om. Peace. Amen.
If we are what we eat, how much more so are we completely what we think and what we feed on mentally and spiritually? The topic of affirmations and this tool for superconscious living in troubled times, in the times we're living in, is a perfect way to start this series of classes on tools and things that we can bring into our lives to bring more and more the presence of God and the awareness of spirit and our own connection to spirit into our moment by moment experiences, and the qualities that can be developed and the depth of attunement that can be cultivated and felt through the practice of affirmation is a living, breathing reality that we're invited into experiencing, and we'll have time to practice and play with this evening, and that we can maybe even focus on together, separately together, over the next week. I want to actually start with sharing a reading from Paramhansa Yogananda from his book, Scientific Healing Affirmations. It perfectly puts us in position to dive into and explore what affirmation is in the context that we're speaking about it, and how to maximize the power and usefulness of this tool for superconscious living. He opens the book by talking about why affirmations work. And he says, man's word is spirit in man. Spoken words are sounds occasioned by the vibrations of thought. Thoughts are vibrations sent forth by the ego or by the soul. Every word you utter should be potent with soul vibration. A man's words are lifeless if he fails to impregnate them with spiritual force. Words saturated with sincerity, conviction, faith, and intuition are like highly explosive vibration bombs which, when set off, shatter the rocks of difficulties and create the change desired. Sincere words or affirmations repeated understandingly, feelingly, and willingly are sure to move the omnipresent cosmic vibratory force to render aid in your difficulty. Appeal to the power with infinite confidence, casting out all doubt. Otherwise, the arrow of your attention will be deflected from its mark. After you have sown in the soil of cosmic consciousness your vibratory prayer seed, do not pluck it out frequently to see whether or not it has germinated. Give the divine forces a chance to work uninterruptedly. Affirmation is the incredible tool that we have to conquer, to discipline, to bring into our control the thought patterns that have been sort of rampantly running through our mind and our lives, and more than we have any idea, have created the realities that we are currently living in. And when I say reality, I mean the outer reality of the experiences of our day-to-day life, the magnetism that we have that draws to us certain experiences, but also the inner condition of our lives, the thought realities that we live in. How often we talk about our perception of what's happening around us, and we talk about the story that we tell. And so much of that has to do with the thoughts that we think. Affirmation is affirming a reality that we are choosing to make manifest. Sometimes that reality is closer to what we're currently experiencing, and sometimes we can feel the gap of where we are consciously and where we are striving to be or reaching to be more in a superconscious state. And affirmation is a way for us to raise up and reach into that potential and that reality that is waiting for us. When we watch and observe our thought patterns, I think you and I can agree that often what we see are things that run through our mind that are incredibly down-pulling. And the affirmations that we're talking about tonight and that we'll practice with Keshava are tools that help us to rewire, retrain our thinking and our way of being and the magnetism that we have to draw to us all good. When we're looking at affirmation, what we're seeing is I can train myself to think a thought, and that thought, like Yogananda was talking about, has a power in it. It is an expression of a reality, a subtle reality. And if I choose a positive version of what I'm wanting to manifest, if I choose to think in a certain way, that has a subtle impact on us. If we talk about health, if I affirm wholeness, wellness, vitality, that thinking has a power to draw us more into relationship with that reality. When we often, one of the things that comes in as a deterrent or a canceling power in our thought processes is I can come into life with an affirmation of health and wellness, and in the back of my mind I can become aware that there's a niggling thought to the contrary, a doubt, a question, a "are you sure" quality, and that can break apart the power of the positive affirmation. And so we have to learn with not only choosing the thoughts that we want to think, but also bringing a willpower and a willingness and a focused concentration to that affirmation, to that way of thinking, and then along with it a offering, a devotional quality, a self-offering into the practice. When we join those three elements together, the thought, the will, and the love, you begin to unite all of your energies. We begin to unite all of our energies in the same direction. I'm thinking about the very well-known example of a bar of steel that becomes magnetized. It's because all of the molecules get aligned in the same direction and they're not canceling each other out by going in different directions. So this practice of affirmation is very much about how do we rein in all of these energies that we have and direct them in the same way. You can visualize also similarly a theater production, and on the stage, the stage lights are up and the whole range of the story is being played out and seen, and the villain and the hero and all of the drama that's playing out, and maybe you can notice on the stage different dynamics that are pulling the characters apart. When the director wants to bring focus to one particular player, one actor, one action on the stage, the spotlight comes into focus and the light narrows down until the focus is purely on that single expression of reality, of life. If you take that metaphor farther, you can relate to light that is focused more and more and more intensely until it becomes a laser. And that laser beam, all of that concentrated light coming together, has the power to cut through even the hardest of substances. It's being used now for surgeries and healings. There's an incredible power when concentration and focus is brought into light or a mental practice. Tonight, as we do affirmation together, what we are experimenting with is how do we tap into not only our concentration and our willpower and our devotional quality, but how do we also open to invite and to draw in the cooperation of the divine, of the manifesting, creating force in the universe. How do we draw on God and our connection with gurus to amplify the power of what we're working with and to bring it beyond the conscious level, beyond an impact through the conscious level to work on the subconscious level? But how do we unite our energy with the infinite energy so that on a superconscious level there is profound transformation and healing and a shifting of the magnetic qualities of our nature as it is? We are, as humans, as souls on a journey, we are the collective result of all of the experiences that we have had and all of the habit patterns that we've formed and created over God knows how much time. And consciously, united with superconsciously, we have this tool to help us change those patterns, transform, maybe untie certain unhealthy patterns of thought and being. And through that thought, we can begin to change in a positive way and impact our physical state, our mental state, our emotional state. And I'm sure many of us have had the experience of also feeling how our internal state has an impact on others, or how others' internal state has an impact on us. So as we look at this, you walk into a room and many of us can feel if a fight has just happened. There's a tension in the air. Or sometimes we walk into a space and you can feel an incredible harmony or dynamic, creative synergy that's in the atoms and molecules of the space because of what's been created there, or between the individuals that are in that dynamic. And so as we're working with affirmation, not only are we affirming the qualities that we want to develop in ourselves, but we're also, if you choose to think of it this way, in an expansive way, in this moment in time with so much worry and so much concern, and reasonably so, that's circulating the planet right now, every person who chooses to affirm a reality that is one of harmony and healing and health and unity, we are expanding that reality out to others, to our neighbors, to our communities, to, in a very, very powerful way, the planet. There are so many studies that have been done now about the effects of meditation and the effects of prayer on whole communities. How if a certain number of people are doing these practices, you actually see a decline in crime and an increase in well-being. And so as we practice affirmation, not only are we working with a healing for ourselves, but we have this as a tool to be of blessing to our larger global community. As I think more about the power that this has, there are so many examples and stories of affirmation in action. Many of you have been hearing a chant that it's called God's Power, and it's becoming a theme song within Ananda right now, and it was written many years ago by several musicians living up near Ananda Village, and it was recorded onto an album that was part of a healing process for a woman named Happy Winningham, and Asha and others have shared about her journey. But she came to Ananda, and sometime after her arrival, she found out that she had contracted HIV and was living with the AIDS virus. And she was given a very short amount of time to live. And she began practicing the healing techniques that were taught by Paramhansa Yogananda, and she brought them into every aspect of her life. Diet, physical exercise, affirmation tremendously. And many of Yogananda's affirmations she drew in and practiced on a daily basis, and her focus was very much on health and vitality and wholeness in her physical body and in her spirit. And her story is tremendous because with her devotion, with her dedication in a body that was a very difficult place to be living, with a commitment to that single-pointed focus, she used these tools and techniques for 10 years, and she impacted not only her soul's trajectory, but also the medical staff that worked with her and her community and all of us. I mean, here we are talking about her journey, but the power of drawing on these tools and putting them into practice, not in a dismissive or half-hearted way, but in a dynamic, focused, driven, and receptive way to offer up, to bring all our energies to a center, offer them, and then open to receive on levels that we cannot even fathom the power that this can bring into our lives. And I love what Yogananda says right here at the end, what I read earlier. He says, after you have sown in the soil of cosmic consciousness your vibratory prayer seed, do not pluck it out frequently to see whether or not it has germinated. Give the divine forces a chance to work uninterruptedly. We bring in the practice, we offer it up, we open to receive, but we keep that energetic flow moving. So as we practice tonight, and then as you go into your daily life, I invite you to select an affirmation. It might be one we used this evening. It might be one from the book Affirmations for Self-Healing, or Yogananda's Scientific Healing Affirmations, or another source. Choose one that you are going to spiritualize. And what I mean by that is you are going to practice it with the fullness of your energy and your devotion and dedication over and over and over again until you feel a divine response. Yogananda talked about how with many of his chants, he chanted them until they had been spiritualized, and now anyone who sings those chants, who prays those chants, who affirms those chants deeply and with devotion will receive also a blessing and an opportunity to attune to that same spiritualized vibration that comes through the music. With these affirmations, choose one that you can personally spiritualize and bring it into your meditation, bring it into your hand washing practice, bring it into your daily walk, bring it into whatever moments of the day you can. You're waking, you're eating, you're sleeping, and let it become something that is so absorbing that nothing else remains as a potential reality. I'm going to invite Keshava to bring us into practice now together.
Thank you, Kshama. So we'll begin with an affirmation from Affirmations for Self-Healing. But today we'll begin with the topic of good health, as that seemed apropos enough to start. But I wanted to just add one thought for how we can focus our practice this evening. Kshama mentioned integrating the power of our thought, our will, and our devotion. And I just wanted to highlight the devotion aspect, the feeling nature of the heart, because without that feeling quality, the practice of affirmation is rather moot. That we can we can say words, but as Shakespeare said, words, words, words. They mean nothing when they're not impregnated with the power of our feeling and our intention. And I would just like to share, actually speaking of Shakespeare, a little bit of technique that I picked up in the acting trade, because as an actor, it was the job to not only say words, but to mean words. And so the investigation became one of discovering consciousness within and behind and throughout words. And it was very inspiring at times, because you might suddenly discover yourself in a greater human experience, especially if the writer was of a higher consciousness like Shakespeare again. But so when we practice an affirmation, the goal should be not just for them to be words, but let's ignite with the spark of our imagination, the feeling quality. And I will just ask you the question, what would it feel like if your body cells obeyed your will? That you could feel them dancing with divine vitality. Then of course your consciousness would declare on all levels that you are well, you are strong, that you are a flowing river of boundless energy and power, because that would be your living reality. And this is a living reality that's available to all of us. This isn't idle dreaming, this is our true nature. Like Kshama said, we're all like that steel bar that have become demagnetized by our multitudinous interests, but by focus, we can learn to reclaim that birthright of divine power, of divine vitality. So I'll just read first Swami's description of good health, and then I'll read the affirmation. But let's really use our imagination and just imagine, what if you could actually feel this as your reality? What would be your consciousness? What would be that feeling in your body, in your mind, in your soul? How would you approach your life? How would you walk down the street? Or in our case, not walk down the street. How would you stay at home if this were your waking, sleeping, dreaming, eating consciousness? Swami writes, "Good health is more than the state of not being ill. It is a radiant state of inner well-being. Physical illnesses may be cured by medicines. No medicine, however, can induce that state of boundless energy which comes when every cell in the body cooperates with the mind willingly, joyfully, in all that it seeks to do. Such radiant well-being comes after the mind has been cleared of every shadow of unwillingness, of fear, and of doubt, when one has learned to say yes to life, and when one has learned to love." Isn't that incredible? Now the affirmation, and I'll just read it once, and I want you to allow your imagination to run wild with this, and imagine, what would this feel like? My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. And now let's use our will to try and draw our current state of consciousness up to meet that true imagination of our superconscious self. So let's close our eyes, interiorize our energy and our will for a moment, and let's use the double breath to tense and relax the body. Let's do that twice more. And now feel that you're withdrawing your energy and awareness into your heart center. And here we'll build a rocket of our aspiration for divinity through the practice of this affirmation, through our concentration, our focus, our application. Let's affirm together first with a strong voice, commanding the attention of our conscious mind. My body cells obey my will.
Body cells obey my will.
They dance with divine vitality.
They dance with divine vitality.
I am well.
I am well.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy.
I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy.
One more time, like you were a superhero. My body cells obey my will.
My body cells obey my will.
They dance with divine vitality.
They dance with divine vitality.
I am well.
I am well.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy.
I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy.
Now in a regular speaking voice, and as we say these words, imagine the sensation coursing through your body. My body cells obey my will.
My body cells obey my will.
They dance with divine vitality.
They dance with divine vitality.
I am well.
I am well.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy.
I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy.
Feel the undercurrent of joy animating these words, this revelation, this experience. And let's say in a soft voice, my body cells obey my will.
My body cells obey my will.
They dance with divine vitality.
They dance with divine vitality.
I am well.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy.
I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy.
And now in a whisper, my body cells obey my will.
My body cells obey my will.
They dance with divine vitality.
They dance with divine vitality.
I am well. I am strong.
I am strong.
I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. Feel that river flowing through you. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. And now let's take this silently. You can repeat with me, but feel these thoughts bursting in your consciousness with vital power. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. And inwardly feel the quality of the heart that this affirmation has awoken within you. And let's offer that quality of the heart up to the spiritual eye. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. And now feel your consciousness expanding at the spiritual eye into the infinite, across all space. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well, I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. Feel that your body has become the infinite universe, your cells, the suns and stars. The dance of divine vitality is the dance of Divine Mother flowing through you. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless energy and power. And now let's bring our awareness back to the heart's center. And there receive the deeper vibration of this affirmation. Allow this affirmation to continue in your consciousness at a vibratory level. Feeling yourself one with that infinite source of boundless power and energy. And now silently pray along with me as the song of your heart singing to God. O mighty source of all that is right and good, help me to see my strength as an expression of thy infinite power. Let me banish the darkness of disease. It is forever foreign to thy light. I'll read that one more time, and let's make this a sincere prayer to the infinite. O mighty source of all that is right and good, help me to see my strength as an expression of thy infinite power. Let me banish the darkness of disease. It is forever foreign to thy light. Let's feel the vibration of this prayer by visualizing a great light at the spiritual eye. The great light of God that banishes all darkness, all disease, all sorrow, all suffering. And let's draw that light into our brains. Into our bodies, our hearts. And as Kshama said, these affirmations can be used as a tool to bless the world. So let's feel that light entering into the hands, and let's rub the hands together, drawing that light and energy, the great light of God that can banish all darkness into our hands. And let's visualize this light expanding to cover the entire globe, all of our human brothers and sisters, all life, all creation everywhere. And let's chant Om 3 times, sending this vibration to all life. Om. Peace. Amen. When I was at Living Discipleship this summer, we had, actually all 3 of us were there, we had a class with Nayaswami Bharat, and I'm paraphrasing, and perhaps you guys can help correct me if I get this wrong, but he said something that really stuck with me, that he said, if I remember correctly, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said the essence of mystical experience is an open and receptive heart. And that basically, what I took away from that is a mystical experience of life is always available to us. But when we close our heart and when we allow its magnetism and energy to be lost into the world through our desires, our aversions, and our fears, we lose that ability to experience life as a mystical adventure. But if we can sensitize the heart again and redirect its feeling up to God, then every moment can be like a spiritual wonderland. And so every affirmation can become a spiritual wonderland. The next affirmation we'll practice is one for developing faith, perhaps, though it's not overtly for that, though I'm sure it's one that you're all familiar with. Faith is perhaps the most practical thing that we can possibly develop. Faith, if I remember correctly, Swami Kriyananda said something along the lines that faith is the underlying power of your state of consciousness to draw to you what you need at the time you need it. And that basically, if you have enough faith, enough true faith in the divine will be able to move through you to move mountains. And with strong enough faith, what do we have to be afraid of? Then even death loses its terrible mask, and we see it only as an opportunity to offer ourselves into the arms of our beloved. And so as we practice this affirmation, let's practice it with the intention of deepening our faith in God to, as Swami put it in his song, The Shawl of Gold, to those of pure hearts, their needs I attend. And so let's let this practice be one of purifying the heart of our fears, of our aversions, of our desires, of our pettiness, of our littleness, of our limited ego definition of who we are, and expanding and offering ourselves into that infinite stream from which all things come. So let's begin again by coming with a straight spine, focusing at the spiritual eye. And you can perhaps visualize the heart opening like a beautiful flower upwards towards the sun. And let's affirm together with a strong outward voice, again claiming the attention of the conscious mind. I will go forth in perfect faith.
I will go forth in perfect faith.
In the power of the omnipresent good.
In the power of the omnipresent good.
To bring me what I need.
To bring me what I need.
At the time that I need it.
At the time that I need it.
I will go forth in perfect faith.
I will go forth in perfect faith.
In the power of the omnipresent good.
In the power of the omnipresent good.
To bring me what I need.
To bring me what I need.
At the time I need it.
At the time I need it.
In a regular voice, I will go forth in perfect faith.
I will go forth in perfect faith.
In the power of the omnipresent good.
In the power of the omnipresent good.
To bring me what I need.
To bring me what I need.
At the time I need it.
At the time I need it.
Now in a softer voice, I will go forth in perfect faith.
I will go forth in perfect faith.
In the power of the omnipresent good.
In the power of the omnipresent
To
good.
bring me what I need.
To bring me what I need.
At the time I need it.
At the time I need it.
Now with a whisper, drawing our awareness deeper in, programming our subconscious minds to this habit, to this attitude. I will go forth in perfect faith. In the power of the omnipresent good. To bring me what I need. At the time I need it. And again in a whisper, I will go forth in perfect faith. In the power of the omnipresent good. To bring me what I need. At the time I need it. Let's whisper this one more time. I will go forth in perfect faith, in the power of the omnipresent good, to bring me what I need at the time I need it. And now silently feeling these words and this reality vibrating through your body, heart, and mind. And again, just imagine that this is your current state of consciousness now. I will go forth in perfect faith in the power of the omnipresent good to bring me what I need at the time I need it. I will go forth in perfect faith in the power of the omnipresent good to bring me what I need at the time I need it. And now focusing at the spiritual eye, let's broadcast these thoughts into the infinite, calling on the superconscious aid of God, the Masters, to imbue us with their power to make this affirmation a reality. I will go forth in perfect faith in the power of the omnipresent good to bring me what I need at the time I need it. I will go forth in perfect faith in the power of the omnipresent good to bring me what I need at the time I need it. Feel that every body cell is humming this affirmation. I will go forth in perfect faith in the power of the omnipresent good to bring me what I need at the time I need it. Consciously relax the heart, offering your feeling quality up to the spiritual eye. I will go forth in perfect faith in the power of the omnipresent good to bring me what I need at the time I need it. I will go forth in perfect faith in the power of the omnipresent good to bring me what I need at the time I need it. And now let's even surrender the thought that we know what we need. Divine Mother knows what we need. Those with pure hearts, their needs I attend. I will go forth in perfect faith in the power of the omnipresent good to bring me what I need at the time I need it. Let this affirmation be an act of self-offering. I will go forth in perfect faith in the power of the omnipresent good to bring me what I need at the time I need it. I will go forth in perfect faith in the power of the omnipresent good to bring me what I need at the time I need it. And let's continue silently for a few minutes together, but dive very deep into the feeling, into the self-offering of this affirmation. Feel yourself being drawn into a river of grace, carrying you into that infinite ocean of God's consciousness, of God's perfect love. And now let's release even the mental affirmation and just hold yourself in a state of inner poise, a state of inner receptivity. And allow this affirmation's vibration to work its magic upon you, seeping into every particle of your consciousness, rewiring your brain, redirecting your heart. And now, out of the inner stillness that you feel, let's begin our final affirmation for this evening. It's a very simple affirmation. Yogananda taught this affirmation and said that we should practice it until we feel that we are one with our Heavenly Father. We should practice this before bed, before surrendering our body into subconsciousness. That we could do this before prayer, to reawaken our inner knowing that we are sons and daughters of our infinite Father. Let's affirm together silently, my Father and I are one. My Father and I are one. These powerful words that Christ spoke. My Father and I are one. Feel your consciousness dissolving away from your body awareness, expanding beyond even creation into that still aspect of God the Father. My Father and I are one. Father and I are one. If your heart or your mind wander, practice the affirmation a bit more vigorously. But if you feel yourself expanding in inner spheres of consciousness, focus on that. Let's feel in our hearts for the presence of our Father, for the presence of our Mother, of God. And there into their tender hands, offer any fears that remain in your heart, any limitations, any worries or concerns. Offer yourself completely into their living, loving presence. We'll transition into our meditation now. You can pray with me if you feel inspired. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, dearest friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswar, beloved Guru, Paramhansa Yogananda, saints of all religions, we bow before you. Bless us with your presence, with your love, with your wisdom. Transfigure us into pure light. Give us vision divine, that we may behold you everywhere, within and without, in all things, and above all, give us devotion, that we may love you ever more deeply. Om. Peace. Amen. Let's move into meditation together now. If you feel you need, you can tense and relax the body. But if you're in a place of stillness, just go into a meditation technique that you enjoy. Practice Kriya Yoga with the remembrance that you and your Father are one, that you and the Masters are one, you and Divine Mother are one. And if you do not have a meditation technique that you're familiar with, just gaze at the spiritual eye and continue this simple affirmation: my Father and I are one. Allowing your consciousness to go deeper and deeper in that inner stillness. Let's dive deep into the inner pool of God's presence together. We'll meditate in silence for about 20 minutes or so. Let's drop whatever technique of meditation we're practicing now, or bring it to a conclusion, one available. And let's go into that final and true state of meditation, that inner expansion of consciousness. Now, keeping the eyes closed, let's visualize at the spiritual eye the face and eyes of Yogananda. Let's visualize him as he's shown in the picture, the last smile. Let's visualize him at the spiritual eye smiling at us. Most of all, try to visualize his eyes and feel that through them the infinite is blessing you. And let's use Yogananda's technique, calling out to him, reveal thyself. Reveal thyself. Call out again and again and again with deeper and deeper feeling of the heart, sincerity, self-offering, devotion. Piercing the veil of Maya with your love. Reveal thyself. And now feel in the heart for the Master's response. Feel his loving presence, his grace, his blessings with you, transforming you. And still visualizing his eyes, now let's change our prayer, now that we know we have his benedictions. And let's demand, as a sacred prayer demand, introduce me to God. Introduce me to God. Introduce me to God. Introduce me to God. And let's relax in the heart center. Feel yourself whisked to that divine presence by the Master's grace. Let's drop all techniques, just residing in that inner awareness. Let's feel the presence of God expanding within our hearts to fill our whole body, our mind, our consciousness. And then feel it expand beyond the confines of your body, like waves of grace rolling outward, washing the world with God's grace, God's presence, God's love, God's healing power. Let's visualize this grace as an expanding blue light, calmly expanding to fill your room, to fill your neighborhood, to fill your city, the state. And as this light expands, allow your awareness to expand with it to our country, the whole globe embraced in this cool, calm, healing light. And feel that light expanding beyond even the earth, embracing the moon, the planets, the sun, distant stars, swirling galaxies, all space. Let's bring the hands together in front of the heart, and let's pray together. Divine Mother, Thou art omnipresent.
Thou art omnipresent.
Thou art in all thy children.
Thou art in all thy children.
Manifest thy healing presence.
Manifest thy healing presence.
In all bodies, minds, and souls.
In all bodies, minds, and souls.
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Amen.
Thank you all so much for joining us tonight and bringing your dynamic energy and willpower to the practice of these affirmations. Let's continue to carry these affirmations with us throughout the weeks. We've planted the seeds of good health and faith and unity into the soil of our superconsciousness. And now, as we've said over and over and practiced and experienced tonight, all we need to do is open our hearts to that transforming light of Divine Mother, because it's in that transformation that we become ever more perfect, pure channels of God's light to all. So be well, be safe, and God bless you.